Hey yo guys, how's it going? Tally here, and today we're going to talk about a semi-controversial issue in the hero community. Should you play Plasma or not? Just in case people don't quite understand who Plasma is. Plasma's this dude, he's on that side of the screen. Essentially his effect is that he can suck up a monster, kind of like Relinquished, and he's a skill drain with legs. Now that all sounds really good, but let's talk about the pros and cons and actually talk about Plasma on a more analytical level, because it's something that comes and goes quite a lot. People ask me a lot, why are you playing Plasma? Why aren't you playing Plasma? Like sometimes it's mandatory and sometimes it's not in hero decks. Is it something you want to see in your hand? Is it bricky? I don't know guys, let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. Alright, so let's dive right in. Alright guys, so we're going to start off and we're going to break down the effect of Plasma and go through the text on it and what it does. Before we do that though, however, guys, I encourage you to like if you like it, and if you love it, give it a share and tell everyone you know about Team Tally today. If you want to join Team Tally, then the subscribe button's down below. Alright, we are aiming for 1,000 subscribers as quickly as we can. We're almost there. We've like at this point get 18, 19 left. So if you want to be one of those people that contribute to that 1,000 goal, then feel free, subscribe buttons down below. Alright guys, and the question of the day is on the side, is Plasma mandatory? You tell me down in the comments below. Now let's dive in and talk about Plasma a wee bit more. Right guys, so here's Plasma's text. Alright, cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by tributing 3 monsters. Negate the effects of face up monsters while your opponent controls them. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, equip that card to this card, maximum 1. This card gains attack equal to half of the original attack of the monster equipped to it by this effect. Alright, so let's break that down. Okay, so breaking down Plasma's effect, being able to negate pretty much all of your opponent's monsters on field is pretty awesome, alright? There's a reason that skill drain itself is limited, okay? It's a really good effect and it carries a lot of weight and value with it, and being able to non-destructively remove a monster from your opponent's side of the field is pretty awesome too. It was really great back when Colossus was a thing. Really struggled to deal with Colossus in heroes and you could just give it the suck. I'm going to break Plasma down into pros and cons because there are a lot of pros and cons with this card. It does have some really high value effects, alright, and it does also have a lot of drawbacks that make it not quite as worth it to me. I personally don't play it right now. It comes and goes from my deck. There's times where I'll hail it as an amazing card, and there's times where I'll hail it as like god awful. Okay, so let's talk about the pros first of all, and then we'll move on to the cons, and then I'll let you guys decide. Alright, the important thing is here that I want you guys to decide, and I want you guys to engage. Is Plasma really mandatory in the deck? Do you like it? Do you not? Because at the end of the day, it's not my job to tell you whether to run it or not. I just want to encourage a discussion about the pros and cons of the card. Okay, so let's talk about the pros. Alright, so one of the pros when it comes to Plasma is its effect. We've talked about it a lot, the skill drain aspect of its effect. One of the best things is that if you summon it into an established board, it doesn't activate, so they can't negate that. As soon as it hits the field, all of your opponent's monster effects are negated, which is great, alright? It doesn't activate. Okay, so as soon as it's on the field, your opponents are negated, and if you want to start breaking their board, then as we said, another pro of it is that you can suck up one of your opponent's monsters and equip it to Plasma, making Plasma a bit stronger in the process by taking some of its attack points. Alright, so there's 2 big things right there. It doesn't activate so your opponent can't negate it, and it makes it very easy to break boards, and it can become a bit more powerful itself, requiring less protection as time goes on. Okay, those are again have a lot of value to them. To me though, those are the only real pros that matter. Yeah, it's easily searchable by Stratos Cross Crusader, but there's a lot of cons in my eyes that make it not as worth playing. Gonna be honest, it's a game winner sometimes. There's some decks that just don't have an in-archetype or in-main deck out to Plasma. I've had a lot of games where it has won me games. I've also had a lot of games where it's lost me games, and let me tell you why in the cons section. So the biggest thing about Plasma for me that makes it a real turn off is that it's a straight up -2 in card economy. You know, when you think about getting rid of 3 monsters just to summon Plasma, depending on the deck, as we've said, Plasma can absolutely win games, but it's a straight up, it's -2, alright, and that's a big thing just from a pure stance of card economy, plasma going -2 for you to summon out what admittedly has a massive target on its head is a pretty big deal. I would rather personally not have to commit a -2 to the board to potentially win this game. Again, especially going blind first, that you don't know that you, like, what if your opponent has a lot of outs to it, because there's a lot of non-monster based outs to a lot of cards. Alright, and we'll talk about that in a second, but in pure card economy terms, plasma's a -2, and I'm not personally big on that. My next big con for plasma is that it's really easy to get over in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! When you think about how accessible there's cards for negation, again, that aren't monster based, such as Infinite Impermanence, one of the forbidden cards, I think it's Chalice, they just negate the effect, and then plasma's what, a 1900 beater? Like, honestly, it's not difficult to get rid of plasma. It requires a lot of protection. You know, you need to, like, your opponent just only needs to summon a monster 1900 attack or more, especially if they're going second and you've set up plasma going first, so it only has 1900 attack. Like, your opponent only has to set up 1900 attack or more to completely get rid of all of your negation. And when you think about that in tandem with the fact that you probably committed a lot to get this card on field, you've just lost so much. There's a lot of cards that can get over plasma and a lot of decks these days. So what's the point in committing such a massive amount of resources? Again, -2, again, could potentially be 2 very good cards. What's the point when it's so easy to out? Next is my other point where, yeah, you can protect it in terms of battle. You've got Honest Neos. Do you really want to waste your Honest Neos protecting plasma? Again, maybe sometimes yeah, because if they can't get over that plasma there and then, they don't have another out for it. Or maybe they do and they'll just get rid of it next turn if you don't OTK them, which can be rare for heroes. We do OTK a lot, but also, like, Sunrise is a thing, but do you really want to waste your Sunrise pop? I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could consider. Did you have to get rid of your Sunrise in order to summon plasma, giving it less protection? There are ways to protect plasma, but again, you kind of need to go out of your way to make those happen, and you need to actively spend more resources on it. So not only is it oftentimes a -2 in card economy just to summon it, if you think and factor in that you may have to really commit your Honest Neos, that's a -3, right? That, again, in card economy terms, it's just not really worth it to me, especially when you can focus on setting up board wipes and setting up Raigekis, Harpy's Feather Dusters, Sunrise's Pop, Darklaw's Banishing. Like, plasma is a good card, but it has its cons. So guys, to recap, I know I've only brought a couple of points to the table, but ultimately the points aren't to convince you of one way or the other. I think plasma is a good card, I just don't personally play it. But I want to talk about, you know, get that discussion going. Do you think it's actually that good? Do you think it's mandatory? When we think about the pros, you know, being a blanket negate's pretty good. You know, going in an established board with a blanket negate and breaking that board is really, really good. It's non-destructive removal, really, really good. I won't deny for a second that its effects are super high value. Again, game winner on its own sometimes, alright, and it's very meta dependent as well, because some decks don't have a lot of monster effects, some decks do. I think in a meta like right now, with Eldlik probably going to be one of the best decks, they can easily get rid of plasma with their trap cards. So is it really that worth it when you think about it? Again, its cons are that it can be kind of bricky as well. It's hard to summon sometimes if you don't open up with a great hand, and it just makes bad hands worse. It's a -2 in card economy, a -3 if you need to guarantee that you're going to keep your Honest Neos for that. But again, it's a game winner sometimes. Ultimately, what I really, really want is for you guys to talk. I want you guys to talk, and I want you guys to discuss plasma. It's worth a discussion. It really is worth a discussion. Heroes were kind of solved in 2019, and from then, the only real update in 2020 is adding Sunrise and Liquid Soldier. Like, the deck's kind of solved, so I really want to think about a genuine discussion surrounding the deck and the value of certain cards. First one we're going to talk about and have talked about is plasma. Alright guys, let's take it to the outro. Guys, as always, if you liked it, give it a like, and if you loved it, give it a share and tell everyone you know about Team Tally today. If you want to join Team Tally, the subscribe button is down below. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers at the point of recording this. Hopefully, by the time this is out, we'll have actually passed it. Alright, but continue to join Team Tally if you want to talk about heroes a lot. And other decks, I've been kind of obsessed with heroes lately, because they're my favourite deck, and Master 05 Heroes is so fun. Alright, but guys, as always, check out my social media. My Twitter and Instagram are both at tcg_tally. Gonna try and interact with you guys on there a lot. Tweet me as much as you can. Tweet me about plasma. Tweet me about your favourite cards, your favourite hero monsters. Alright, talk to me. I love talking to people. And as always, guys, you've been amazing. I've been Tally. I'll catch you all later. Bye.